What do you say to the Liberal Party room today? They're meeting right now. It looks like they're going to firm up on a no stance to the Albanese, the referendum working groups model, essentially. What do you say to them?
I say to the Liberal Party to, reach into your hearts, to really think about what this is for Australia, which is truly unifying. It is something that is well overdue. It's about time that we took a step to building a better relationship with Indigenous people, giving us what we're asking for, which is just to be able to take responsibility for our own lives, for our own communities. And the only way that we can take responsibility is to truly be heard, to be able to sit at the table, talk about the solutions. So I want them to think practically as well. But this is a very practical thing for us to do that will help the communities. And I think the only way that they can do that is to to remove the obstacles to this, as in to stop playing politics with Indigenous lives. This is something that should go beyond politics. It is something that is, there's nothing to lose for Australia and everything to gain. Yeah. And I just hope that they can, I'm going to be hopeful today. I really hope that they'll support this.
So would you accept a conscience vote as a way forward? Do you think that is the right course of action? Or what is, from reporting this morning, we know that perhaps they say no to this, but want to see a voice that enshrines local voices. What do you think about that?
The voice that we're proposing does, amplify local voices.
Does it? How?
Absolutely. Well, it is elected from the people. The people choose who is in this voice, and that is how. At the moment, the people in our communities can't choose who represents us. We can't hold people that say they speak for us to account in any way. And a democratic process to allow us to do that brings the voices from the communities to the places where decisions are made. It's not an elitist thing if we are choosing the voices, if we're holding them to account. It really is the voices of the community.
Some of the criticism we get is that the referendum working group and the members of it are the elites. You're not actually the people on the ground. Are you an elite? What does that mean?
Well, if anybody that works hard and, is making a difference for their community is suddenly elite, I totally disagree with that observation. I have my family, my community, I do this because I love my children. This is about Australia, and it's about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Yeah. And that's not an elite thing to work hard for a better future.
How is it going to change the lives of Aboriginal people? Day in and day out on this program, we report about violence, domestic abuse, sexual assault in Aboriginal camps around Alice Springs. Talk about alcohol abuse, systemic, generational problems. How will this start to change things, do you think? And I don't ask you that as a trap, as the voice being some kind of perfect policy, but do you truly believe that a change in the Constitution, a voice to Parliament, will start to see those changes, and why?
Yeah, absolutely, because we've seen repeatedly throughout the history of our federation, when Indigenous people have created the ability to be heard, our voices have been silenced. And whenever we've spoken, it has always been about the policies and the legislation and the programs that are able to support our communities to recover from what has been a history that is, we should all be quite ashamed of, absolutely ashamed of, the way that Indigenous people have been treated. For example, my father, wasn't an Australian citizen for most of his childhood. My grandparents, they couldn't decide who they could marry without the intervention of a protector. We couldn't, there were curfews on my people. Our wages were held by the government. We haven't been able to generate wealth, like other Australians. And all of these things are based on the legislation that is made and those policies. And a voice in a democracy is a really powerful thing because it can influence those laws and policies. And so the crime rates that we see, the social ills in our community are not because Indigenous people are different. It's not because we're innately criminal. it is certainly affected by the laws and policies that are made, and a voice will make a massive difference.
Okay, well, we'll see where the Liberal Party ends up today. Thomas Mayo, pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Laura.